Hey everyone, this is an overview of the Monday Martial Arts Minute for January. So we talked about 4 subjects this month. We talked about goals, establishing some goals. The main thing here is that you really want to try to get an understanding of what you hope to achieve out of martial arts. Some goals might be physical fitness. It might be practical self-defense. It might be competitive experience. It might be confidence. There are any number of things that it can be. And it doesn't have to be just one thing, okay? But you really need to understand what it is you do want, okay? That way, as you start to progress, as you start to explore programs, as you start to understand programs that and what they achieve, you can make sure you're working toward your goals. I've seen it many times where a student has a goal in mind and then they're training in a program that frankly just won't achieve those goals. Or if it will achieve those goals, it puts so low a priority on them that they will take forever. And now you'll achieve a bunch of other things, of course, in those programs, but not your goals. So you really need to understand what it is that you want out of your martial arts journey. Goals can also evolve. They can change over time. Okay, obviously, once you achieve a certain goal, then you have to reevaluate. But more than that, you may have started out with the goal of, I want to be a championship UFC fighter. Great, nothing wrong with that. Start focusing on those goals. And then, that takes some time. A year or two down the road, your life has changed. Other circumstances have come up. And now your goals are different. Maybe being that championship UFC fighter is no longer your dream. Maybe you have a new dream. Maybe you have something else in mind. There are any number of things that can motivate that. So take some time and really understand your goals, and then also take time to reevaluate your goals periodically. Maybe it's every 6 months, maybe it's every year. I don't know. That's really up to you and kind of how you work, what your life is like. But don't just languish for 20 years with the same goal in mind unless you've actually evaluated that goal and that is still your objective. The second thing we talked about is finding a program that focuses on those goals that you've just set. Now, there are so many wonderful martial arts programs out there, and I'm not going to say a negative thing about any martial art or martial arts program. But there are certainly, I think we could all agree, there are certainly programs that are not directed at achieving the goals we might want at any given point. Okay, if I want to be a UFC cage fighter, then Olympic Taekwondo may not be where I want to focus my energy. That's not to say that an Olympic Taekwondo program cannot benefit me. It can. Okay? But if it's not the focus, then I'm not really taking a very efficient path toward achieving my goal. Maybe what I want, certainly we could say, well, really what I want is to develop some impressive samurai sword skills. Well, going to my local UFC gym is probably not going to achieve that goal. There are plenty of things to learn there, but it won't be the thing I'm most interested in. So find a program. And one of the things that I need to point out is when I say program, I don't mean style, I don't mean school, although sometimes those can be synonymous. Really what I mean is the kind of program you're going to design for yourself. Now you might find that your training program is achievable all at one school. And that's great, okay? I think most people have that experience. Most people train at one martial arts school. at least one at a time. There aren't that many people, I would say, that train at multiple schools at the same time. But certainly the idea is that you know what you want to achieve and you need to start to work toward those goals. And that requires a program that might be more involved than a single style or what a single school offers. Likewise, a single school may offer multiple types of training, some of which can help you achieve your goals and some won't, maybe. Okay? So, really think about your program, what it is you are, what it is you're going to do to achieve your goals, and then make sure that wherever you study, whoever you study from, helps you achieve those goals. And honestly, if an instructor tells you they can achieve all of your goals, but then you discover that, well, we don't even train in this one particular area, you may need to evaluate whether you're training from the right person. That's just honest. That's just how it is. I've had many a student come to my school and say, I want to do this and this and this. And I say, okay, well, I can help you with this and I can help you with this, but these two things, let me suggest some other locations that you can go to, some other programs that can help you achieve those objectives. We'll help you with these. They can help you with those. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. The third thing we talked about was managing your commitment. Okay. I cannot express to you the number of times I've had a super enthusiastic student get started, and then a month down the road, they discover their life just can't handle it. Okay? They don't have enough time in their day. They don't have enough freedom in their schedule to do what they want to do. Now, in our school and our program, if you can come once a month, that's great. We love to have you. We charge accordingly, so it's no big deal. But we also inform you up front that it's very hard to make any kind of real progress that way. You will make progress, but it'll be really hard to see because it will take so long. It's kind of like when you haven't seen someone for a really long time and all of a sudden they've grown 6 inches. Okay, well that makes sense. But if you're hanging out with them every day, you don't notice. Well, if you do martial arts just once a month, some maybe even once a week, it depends on you, it may be very difficult for you to see leaps and bounds of progress. So be aware of that. But understand what you can commit. If you do that, if you understand that up front, then it will be way easier to overcome any kind of barriers because you've already planned for them. Okay, it will also be easier to avoid some of the main frustrations that you will have when it's like, man, I really want to achieve this goal, but I could only train, I thought I could train 3 days a week, but now I can only train 1. That's tough. Okay, or I thought I could train 5 days a week, but I can only train 3. That's a tough problem. That's a tough challenge. But if you know it ahead of time, or if at least you're mentally prepared for it ahead of time as best you can be, then it will make handling that much easier. So work toward that. Establish and understand your commitment plan. Okay? And then the final thing we talked about was managing your expectations. Managing expectations is a common theme in all kinds of areas of your life. But in martial arts, one of the things that we see a lot is people show up, and it happens a lot with younger students especially, but they show up and they're like, oh, I want to do martial arts, and within 6 weeks I'm going to start doing cage fights, and within a year I'll be trying out to fight in the UFC or K1 or whatever. It doesn't work that way. Okay, sometimes it can. I'm not saying it never has happened, but that is not the norm. These things take time and commitment and effort, and they're not magic. okay, as some martial artists would like to argue that they are. But generally speaking, you've got to train long enough to build the muscle memory you need to make things at least run somewhat on automatic. You need to train long enough to have perspective and understandings of when and why you're supposed to throw a technique or use a particular technique, and when, more importantly, when not to. Okay, so these are just things that take time, and you're going to have to dedicate that time. So don't have the expectation that it's not going to take time. Another thing is that a lot of students will come in and they will get easily frustrated because they have difficulty learning something. I've had a lot of people who are very athletic, very naturally physically coordinated, and a lot of the techniques they'll get right away, but some they will struggle with. They will find a real challenge, either be it conceptually or physically, and just for some reason it just doesn't click with them, and they find that extremely frustrating, which I understand, and it will be frustrating. But if you go in with your expectations set correctly, it may be easier to manage and understand exactly what it is you want and can achieve in this stage of your martial arts journey. So, again, for January, understand your goals, find a program that focuses on those goals, understand what you can and will commit, and then understand that no matter how much you commit, it probably is going to take a little bit longer to achieve your goals than you might expect. All right? Keep training, train hard, train wise if you can, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.